I poured this kitchen ingredient on my avocado tree. 60 days later I couldn't believe my eyes. Picture this. You planted that tiny avocado pit 3 years ago with dreams of homemade guacamole, only to stare at a stubborn tree that refuses to bloom. Sound familiar? Here's the thing most gardeners don't know. Your tree isn't being difficult, it's just starving for the right nutrients. What I'm about to share changed everything for my avocado trees, and it can do the same for yours. Last month I watched my neighbor's jaw drop as she counted over 60 avocados hanging from my once barren tree. The secret isn't expensive fertilizers or complicated schedules. It's a simple 3-ingredient powerhouse that tricks your tree into thinking it's found the perfect growing conditions. The kitchen pantry solution that outperforms store brands. Forget those fancy fertilizer bottles with confusing numbers and chemical names. Your avocado tree craves something much simpler, and you probably have 2 of the 3 ingredients sitting in your kitchen right now. This isn't about gardening trends or social media hacks. This formula works because it delivers exactly what avocado trees need most during their crucial flowering stage. The magic happens when you combine wood ash, ground cinnamon, and pure molasses. Before you roll your eyes thinking this sounds like some ancient folk remedy, let me explain the science. Each ingredient targets a specific need your tree has been desperately trying to communicate through its slow growth and lack of flowers. Wood ash might seem like waste from your fireplace, but it's actually nature's multivitamin for plants. When you burn clean, untreated wood, you're left with concentrated potassium, phosphorus, calcium, and magnesium, the exact nutrients that trigger flower formation and fruit development. Think of it as compressed plant food that's been purified by fire. Why cinnamon isn't just for cookies anymore? Here's where things get interesting. That jar of ground cinnamon in your spice rack contains iron, calcium, zinc, and selenium, minerals that most gardeners spend hundreds of dollars trying to add to their soil. But cinnamon does something even better than expensive supplements. It creates an invisible shield around your tree's roots. Every time you water, harmful bacteria and fungi try to attack your tree's root system. Cinnamon acts like a natural bodyguard, fighting off these threats while simultaneously feeding your tree essential nutrients. It's like having a personal trainer and a nutritionist working together to keep your avocado tree in peak condition. The antimicrobial properties in cinnamon also help your tree absorb nutrients more efficiently. Instead of struggling to pull minerals from depleted soil, your roots can focus on what they do best, growing strong and supporting heavy fruit loads. The sweet secret that supercharges growth. Now for the ingredient that makes everything else work twice as hard: pure sugarcane molasses. Not the refined stuff from the baking aisle, but thick, dark molasses that looks almost black and moves like honey. This sticky treasure contains more potassium and calcium than most commercial fertilizers, plus natural sugars that feed beneficial soil bacteria. When you pour molasses around your tree, you're not just feeding the plant, you're feeding an entire underground ecosystem. Beneficial microorganisms multiply rapidly, breaking down organic matter and making nutrients available exactly when your tree needs them. It's like having a team of tiny workers preparing perfect meals for your avocado tree 24 hours a day. Okay, so here's the formula that honestly changed everything for me and turned my struggling trees into, well, fruit-producing machines. You'll need 160 grams of clean wood ash from untreated firewood, 70 grams of ground cinnamon, and 1 full coffee cup of pure sugarcane molasses. Just mix all 3 ingredients into exactly 10 liters of clean water and keep stirring until everything dissolves completely. The water temperature, believe it or not, matters more than you might think. You want to use room temperature water and stir for at least 5 minutes to make sure the molasses really breaks down properly. You'll know it's ready when the mixture has this rich, dark color and there aren't any clumps of ash or cinnamon floating on top. Go ahead and apply this mixture directly around the base of your tree, making sure to focus on the area where the trunk meets the soil. Pour slowly, so the liquid has time to soak deep into the root zone instead of just running off the surface. Remember, your tree's roots actually extend much further than you might imagine, so don't be afraid to water in a pretty wide circle around the trunk. Timing really makes the difference between success and disappointment. The biggest mistake I see gardeners make is applying fertilizer at the wrong time. Your avocado tree doesn't need extra nutrients when it's already covered in flowers. It actually needs them right before flowering begins. So keep an eye out for those tiny flower buds that look like small green clusters forming at the ends of branches. That's your signal to act. Go ahead and apply the fertilizer mixture as soon as you spot these early buds, which is usually in late winter or early spring, depending on your climate. This way the nutrients will be waiting in the soil exactly when your tree starts its flowering process, giving it everything it needs to produce abundant blooms that actually turn into fruit. You know, many trees flower beautifully but end up dropping their blooms before any fruit develops. This usually happens because the tree runs out of energy halfway through the process. By feeding it before flowering starts, you're giving your tree enough fuel to complete the entire journey from bud to harvest. So what happens when you get it right? Honestly, the results speak louder than any promise I could make. Within just a few weeks of applying this mixture, you'll start to notice changes that make it obvious your tree is responding. New growth appears darker green and way more vigorous. Flower clusters develop larger and they stay on the tree longer. But most importantly, those flowers start setting fruit that actually grows to maturity. My trees now produce so heavily that, well, I've had to install support stakes to prevent branches from breaking under the weight. Last season I actually harvested enough avocados to share with neighbors and still filled my freezer with surplus fruit. The best part? Each avocado tastes better than anything I've ever bought at the store. The transformation isn't just about quantity. The quality improves dramatically too. Homegrown avocados develop richer flavor, creamier texture, and honestly, they stay fresh longer after picking. When you give your tree exactly what it needs nutritionally, it rewards you with fruit that makes every grocery store avocado seem bland by comparison. Beyond the first application, one application of this fertilizer mixture can jumpstart your tree's productivity. But, consistent care creates lasting results. I apply this formula once at the beginning of flowering season and supplement with regular organic compost throughout the growing period. The combination creates soil conditions that support heavy fruit production year after year. Remember that avocado trees are long-term investments in your garden. The nutrients you provide today determine not just this season's harvest but how productive your tree will be for decades to come. By starting with this powerful natural fertilizer, you're setting up a foundation for years of abundant harvests. Your avocado tree wants to produce fruit. It's programmed by nature to reproduce and spread. Sometimes it just needs the right nutritional push to fulfill that genetic destiny. This 3-ingredient formula provides exactly that push, transforming patient waiting into eager anticipation of your next harvest season.